Welcome back to the Epoch Podcast. My name is Ben Wartsky, and with me today is my co-host, as always, Diego Bryan.
Hello, hello.
And with us today, we are joined by Farhan Abbasi. He is from Pakistan. He told his mom he was studying so he could come to be with us today, and he likes soccer. Welcome, Farhan.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
So today it's a nice Saturday afternoon, and we said, Farhan, what are you doing? He said, nothing. We said, all right, you should come on the podcast.
It's actually not a nice Saturday afternoon. It's humid as hell outside.
Well, you're the only one who's been
Yeah,
outside.
no, we just stepped outside
I had
of
to
our
wear
room.
a swimsuit because it was that humid.
I thought that was like a fashion choice. I thought that was like maybe you're going swimming after this, but no, it's just so hot. You'd wear a swimsuit.
Exactly.
You're literally wearing a swimsuit.
Yeah, I noticed that when you walked in, but I wasn't. As I said, I thought you were just doing something with it. I didn't realize.
I have the confidence to make it seem like it's fashion, but it's really just practicality.
No, I appreciate that. I think that's key. I think more people should just wear what's practical.
Exactly. And it looks good too.
Right.
I think.
not to like do my own, but yeah, I think I look pretty good. Okay, so Farhan, something that Diego and I were discussing before the podcast, kind of is like, are you a citizen? Is the first question.
No, not yet. I think 2 more years.
2 more years.
Yeah.
So what steps have you done to become a citizen, or have you done any steps, or what? I don't know what that process is.
So
like.
my dad, the reason we're here is because he got a job here. So he used to work for a multinational company in Pakistan.
Right.
Got transferred here. And then we got a work permit. And
when was that?
This was like about 5 years ago.
So you were
around 2012.
like
freshman year of high school.
Okay.
Like 14.
Oh, wow.
Just turned 14.
So you have friends still in Pakistan, I assume?
Mostly family, friends.
So was that a tough transition to go between Pakistan and the U.S.?
Yeah. Now that you say that, it's a lot of embarrassing, stories that come to mind.
Only we had a platform to express those.
It was just like dumb stuff. Like I did not know any of the terminology. Like I speak English, but not like American English is kind of different. Right. From kilometers to miles. I remember in math, I just used to sit there. Like if it was like a metric,
right?
It wasn't. I'm from a metric system, and then they would have this system, and then they'd be talking, and I wouldn't get the problems because I had no idea what they were saying. I was like, I have to pull out my calculator.
You have to convert everything.
Exactly. Look how the conversion rate's right there. She's like, get off your phone, please. And I'm like, it's really necessary. But yeah, so we got here 2012, and then we were still on a work visa, and I was his dependent. And then we applied for our green cards. And someone has to sponsor you for the company that he works for. Sponsored him. We got our green cards, and then it's like a 5-year process, and we're 3 years into it, basically.
Okay. So do you have to take a test at the end, or what's the ultimate end?
I really hope not. Because I was told. So someone told me that I took U.S. history, and that counts for it because that's basically what the test is.
Right.
But I just got told that this Haitian dude that I work with was like, oh, no, I've been here since I was 9, and I just had to take it. It was really easy. But, you still had to take it, which is kind of...
What was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
Okay. I'm just going to test you throughout. You're going to be so trained.
I'm saying I won't know the answers to some of these questions.
Earlier stuff I'm kind of hazy on. I always forget when, the specific date of... the United States getting made, which is kind of bad.
But Diego, do you know that?
1778?
I don't know that. I'll
July
say
4th,
that.
1776.
All right, 6. See,
I'm pretty sure.
I
don't know. We should not talk U.S. history on here. We'll be way more ignorant than we need to be. So I want to hear more about the differences between. I've never been to Pakistan. Would you recommend it as a tourist destination?
I definitely would if you knew where you were going. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely get a local, i.e. me. Please employ me, by the way. So I'm starting a tourist agency.
There you go.
But yeah,
that's something we do all the time. We just ask for stuff. Okay. It never comes in. We're like, hey, Starbucks, sponsor the podcast, stuff like that.
No. Okay. But yeah, so like I would, because there's definitely areas that you should avoid, but a lot of things are blown out of proportion. I think the anti-American sentiment is blown out of proportion, because people were like, so when I came to Pakistan, there was this girl who was like, "Oh, you guys hate us, don't you?" Like, literally the first thing she ever said to me wasn't like, "Hi, hello," Like, she was like, "You guys hate us, right, over there?" And I was like, "No, like, that's why I came here, Like, I really don't."
I'm here to hate you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, idiot.
Just calling Americans names.
Yeah,
That's all you do
exactly.
the whole time.
But yeah, like, and there was like a lot of heavy stuff too. Like people would generally have questions like, did you, were you guys supportive of Osama bin Laden? Because it was like, the thing was that Pakistan sheltered Osama bin Laden for a while. That was the general consensus. And
Right.
That was right when he got killed. You guys moved
yeah.
here.
Fun fact: I was 30 miles away, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
well,
I
depending
mean, we were having like, that's the thing. That's what I try to tell people. Like, news broke out and everyone just broke to the streets. It was the biggest party I've ever seen. Yeah, like it was so much fun too. And we were just like, little kids, like, yeah. But yeah, because there was a lot of like the terror over there, especially by like the Taliban and Al Qaeda, was a lot towards Pakistan, which is kind of why they never wanted to take responsibility ever to do with anything, with capturing Osama bin Laden, because like the retaliation, like they feared. I have like family friends, and like part of my family are lobbyists back in Pakistan, and they tell me it's like we feared the retaliation so much that there was like general consensus like, no, we're not taking any responsibility of ever capturing or anything,
So like, who?
But they're also like not stopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's just
Like there was like, because people over here think that we actively supported, like give them groceries. It's like, no, we didn't really like them, but like there was, it's definitely complicated once you go there. It's it's
So,
not
but he
as
was
cut and
hiding from everyone, right? It wasn't like the Pakistan people knew where he was. The Pakistan.
That's where
that's
the controversy is.
Okay.
I would say
You did not know where he was.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. The citizens of Pakistan did not know where he is. Parts of government didn't know where he is. But I definitely think there was some people
who knew.
There are definitely sympathizers, sympathizers. I won't lie about that, but it's definitely like a smaller portion of the population than people going, "Oh, like you guys had him for dinner, right?" Like, not really, like
He visited everyone.
Yeah.
He's just like making his rounds.
People actually expect like pictures, like huddling up, like it's like in family photos, just in the background. Like.
In everyone's house, Osama bin Laden like made his rounds. That'd be crazy.
But I would, if first of all, Pakistan is cheap as hell. Like it's literally, my phone bill there was like $5 for everything. Like,
Jeez.
That's how cheap it is.
Why is it so cheap?
It's the in relation to the US dollar, the currency exchange would be like 1 to 100 for like God. One.
What is the current rupee?
Yeah, 100 rupees is $1 basically. 103 I think right now.
Okay.
But.
So what do rupees come in? Is it like similar to US dollars? Is it like 1, 10, 100? I know some countries there's like 100,000, 250,000.
Yeah, it hasn't gone to the Zimbabwean thing where it's like a
yen?
million, a million on a note, and like no one cares because it's like it has no value. But I will say it's like, I think we still have coins for 1 up till 5, and then after that it's like 10, 20, going up to like 1,000, 5,000.
Okay, so 5,000 is the highest bill.
Yeah, 5,000 high.
Interesting. I just find that weird. That like it just because from growing up with the dollar, it's just like 100 is the biggest. You go to other countries that they hand you like $10,000 and you're like, I'm rich. It's like you can buy a popsicle. It's like,
I don't want a popsicle. Had a peso. It was like 200, 300 peso. He's like, this is literally worth. And I was like, really? Like, it's just he was flexing, and then I was like, what is that worth? And it's like not a lot.
Like 3 cents. No disrespect to the peso.
If you go to the northern areas there, like especially, so we have. Do any of you follow DC at all? It's
What
like
do you mean
DC
DC
Comics.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You're talking
yeah,
about like
okay.
Washington,
No,
DC.
Washington,
It's
DC.
like
No,
I
I
don't-
follow DC Comics way more than Washington.
Okay,
DC.
do you know Nanga Parbat? It's all right. So
Nah,
we'll just say we don't follow
All right,
DC.
so it's a mountain that like supposedly Arrow and all these characters are from. It's actually in Pakistan. It's called the Killer Mountain, and so like stuff like that is very. It's like one of the only mountains that I'm aware of where you can stand from a distance and observe avalanches because it has like a little cliff in front of it that protects like on observers and stuff, which is very cool. Like there's a place called
how do you pronounce it?
Nanga Parbat.
Nanga Parbat.
Yep.
Yeah,
And there's a place right adjacent to it called Fairy Meadows, and you can like go there and camp out, and one of the most beautiful places I've been to. And you can just overlook a avalanche-ridden mountain, and literally in the morning there'll be a sound of thunder, and that's how you know it's starting. And you just like no seriously, and you just walk out, and there's a live avalanche. This is crazy. My dad has some shots. You guys have to see
It's
them.
like Old
amazing.
Faithful for avalanches.
Exactly. It's like it's actually kind of scary, but
Right here every 90 to 45 minutes.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So that stuff. K2, I've been to the base camp, which is the second highest peak in the world. That's that is.
When
Yeah,
did you?
we were
When
actually talking about K2 on the last podcast, and apparently tons of people die summiting it.
it's like
Yes.
50% or no
Yeah,
25%.
because Mount Everest is like mostly like the ascent to it isn't as like Mount Everest isn't as hard to climb as other mountains because it's very.
It's been climbed so much.
Exactly.
Also,
Also,
the route
like
been done.
the ascent isn't as steep. Like obviously, I wouldn't. If someone's like, "All right, it's not that steep," it's not steep. I wouldn't argue with it, but I definitely know more dangerous mountains because the hike is just it's straight up in the air. You don't
Right.
And that's
so when did you climb K2?
I didn't. Okay, first of all, I
Base
did
camp.
not.
You
I
made
yeah,
it to the
base
start
camp.
When did
Yeah.
you?
I was like,
why were
I
you
was like
there?
10 years
What-
old. Just my.
You're just stumbling
So-
around. You're like, oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. So there was actually the sadder part of Pakistan, which is like 2007, 2008, when like attacks were very prevalent. Like we lived through bombings and stuff. So like there was in 2010, my dad was in 2009ish. I think my dad was like, all right, we need to take like a break from all this stress, and then we went to like the northern areas to explore, and then it was I didn't even know that side of Pakistan existed. It's kind of sad, but like all we had known was like terror, like flat cities, like people bombing, which
Right.
is
Right. It's
and,
never good.
yeah, it's like, it was stressful. It's kind of insane because I came to America and I was like, wow, this is really boring.
There's no avalanches.
There's no threat of death, never. Like
Right.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that's like definitely what people in America I think take for granted for sure is like the safety. Like people
That's
are.
what I hate. Honestly, I feel like so many Americans are like, it got dark. We can't go outside at all.
Oh my gosh, dude.
We can't do anything.
That
I'm
happened. That happened to my cousin in Texas, and the electricity went out for like 10 seconds, and she was like, "Where is my mother?" And I was just like, "Dude, this happens in Pakistan. Like, we have rolling blackouts we have to deal with." Like,
Exactly.
it's
It's,
so
like
funny.
I don't know. Everyone like freaks out when
It's just like, yeah, no, I mean, I think that's just a privilege of living in a first world country. It's just like you expect certain things, and then when they don't work, you just punch them until they start working. It's just,
and the thing is, it's so good here that people don't feel the need to go outside the country. Like people
Right.
like. I know people. Do you know Jonathan Adkins, the Johnny?
Yeah.
Lives down the hall. He was like, that was his argument. It's like, and I completely understand. It's like, it's so good here. It's so safe here. Why do I need to leave? Which is fine. But then you end up being in a bubble where you're like,
Right.
Global politics doesn't really
right.
have that
you.
have
Right.
that perspective.
I mean, I think it's interesting to go to other countries and see different, like you wouldn't be able to see rolling avalanches and I think what you're saying to a smaller extent, like I think people get so comfortable with where they're living, they don't even want to leave their
Exactly.
their house,
town.
their
Yeah.
town. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people end up spending generations. Like I know Diego knows this family that they live literally in the same place. Everyone does.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
It's like a compound.
Mine's like 4 years max. Like now I'm starting to get restless in Raleigh, which is, it's just.
I feel that. Yeah.
like-
I mean, my family moved all the time. I kind of have this thing though where I want a house, like a forever home for like the rest of my life. I just want to travel a lot. And I think it'd be cool. Like, I think it's cool when you travel and everything goes well and you like see super dope things. But like, even when you see like terrible things, or like it rains like 7 days in a row or something like that. When you get back, you're like, oh my goodness, this place is awesome.
Exactly.
Like at least it makes you appreciate your own
Right.
place.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't know.
So how is going back to Pakistan after being in America been? Are you like, man, I can't believe that this was normal to me, or like what are your
I think
thoughts
there's
going back and
so
forth?
there's concepts. Are you familiar with the concept of like?
I would assume no to whatever you're about to
all
say.
right. So I'm about to explain islands of prosperity. That's like a third world concept. So it's so this is how like third world countries usually work. It's metropolitan centers, like cities where I'm from,
Right.
and then they're very developed, right? Like you'll go from here to Lahore, and like obviously like the language is different, metric system, whatever. But like you know,
Get out my calculator.
yeah,
I gotta do
exactly.
some
But,
conversions.
like the infrastructure there, you'll be like, whoa, this is, you know, because people over there do the same thing people do here. It's like, you know, go to a coffee shop, get a sandwich, which is
Right.
you
I say
know,
that's
work
pretty.
on
That's
their
an
laptops. Yeah,
average
yeah.
American.
Exactly. So like, but then it's like you take a step out of that city and
Right.
there is nothing. Like, you know, you're back to like clay houses.
There's like no urbanization.
Exactly. Yeah. No urbanization, no infrastructure, no schooling. Like,
Jeez.
so that's so where I'm from, we were lucky enough to you know be well off. So we were decently well off, and like
So you had the opportunity to go to school, or just living in the
Oh,
big
yeah,
city
we
afforded
were-
you the ability to
exactly.
go to school?
Go to school, private schooling. You know, most of my professors, a couple of them were like Canadian, Sri Lankan. Like I had a lot of exposure to different countries and stuff like that, just growing up there.
Right.
And I think that definitely made it easier. But I do like recognize the privilege, because it was like, because if I wasn't born where I was born, then
Right.
my life, you know, it's
I mean,
kind of
you'd be
crazy.
completely
that,
different.
Exactly.
Because do you have family still in Pakistan that want to come here but are like monetarily unable to?
No. So yeah, that's what I would say. It's like my family are very decently well off in most quarters.
Right.
So like none of them like so.
So
Like
that
we
was
kind
never,
of
like,
had
an
to,
issue.
yeah. So like we kind of had to give up some parts of our lifestyle to come here, because it's like we were getting, like my family was getting paid almost the same amount there,
Right.
and like it's cheap as crap.
Right.
So like
Okay.
You guys were ballers out there?
Literally, dude. I was like, I kind of miss my house. It was like just 10,000 square feet. Like,
Jeez.
yeah.
Oh
Like,
my god.
It was a lot, and it wasn't, and it's not like me stunting on you, you know, like, oh god, I had to, like,
I was
exactly, like it's just
And that's what we
it's
don't know about Farhan. He's actually like the prince of
like there's
Pakistan.
just labor so cheap over there that you can get away with making a lot of like huge stuff for relatively less money. you
That's
know?
awesome.
What is the car scene? I know you're into cars more than myself.
Oh, so the tax, so it's very weird. So people don't really pay their taxes in Pakistan. They've
good.
been
That
used to
seems-
like property or income. So what the government tried to do to get around that was do commodity and goods taxing. So
Okay.
which means everything you buy then starts getting taxed. And so they put a 300%. Like, yeah, this is real. Like 300% tax on cars, right? So Toyota Camry over there was worth like $80,000. So we had a BMW X5, and that was we did we appraised it right before we were coming to sell it, and I think it was like $185,000 for a BMW SUV, like, which is like 60, 70.
Yeah, it's
Right,
not like
right.
It's crazy.
God.
And that's what, like, if we were here, we could have afforded Ferraris. That's what, you know, like, and like we couldn't, and I was kind of bummed out about that. So, you know,
That's insane.
So the car. So okay. So I was expecting you to say that there was a bunch of supercars, but you're saying that there's just
because of, so there used to be, and then the government was like, oh, we're gonna tax everything now,
Right.
And then
they
the
just.
Toyota Camry was now the Ferrari. Is what I'm telling you. Like,
So what is like what are people's first car? What are children's first cars, or is that not like? Is that another privilege thing?
That's a pretty American thing.
yeah, I would
Most part.
say, yeah. So it's
So
like,
or what is the family car? I guess.
so the family concept there, you know how you have the nuclear family here? It's like, you know, we move into our own home when we're married. Over there, it's more joint family, one pot kind of thing. So it's like,
Okay.
so the way my sister, and this isn't like a poor or rich thing, it's just, you know.
It's most of the world.
Exactly.
Spanish families are like that too.
So like it's like more of a cultural thing where so my sister got married into this industrialist family, like her husband's a Duke graduate, and they both
Shout
went
out.
back, and so they live with their parents, their brothers and sisters, and then my sister got married into the family, so she went into their house, right?
Right.
And then they still have like brothers and sisters living in the same house, and
Right.
they're not, like it's just like, and then their wages, like everyone kind of puts them in one pot, and then the head of the family. It's not very strict, but it's like it's kind of controlled
Is that
way.
usually the father or is it the
Yeah.
oldest male or is it?
Yeah, in this case, yes, and like I wouldn't want to generalize it, but yeah, in our case, it's pretty much just the oldest male. But on my mom's side, it was my mom's mother, which was I don't know how it's just family tradition, I guess.
Just
So,
what is it? Is that just chosen by the family? Just
yeah,
like,
pretty much. It's kind of elected out of need, I guess.
Okay.
It's like, so if my brother-in-law's dad is, the breadwinner of the family, I guess.
right.
So then people see the need, and then they're like, all right, so you can make the decisions because you have the most like contribution to the table.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Because
So,
you're
like,
bringing the most,
exactly
the most,
yeah.
then you can then choose what to do with the
Yeah,
rest of our
exactly.
stuff.
But it's not as rigid. It's not like if my brother-in-law started making more money, he'd be like, "Hey, Dad, you know, I make the rules now." It's kind of like a over his life thing.
That'd be pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He couldn't
As
just, like,
soon as he beats him, he's like, "All right,
like
I'm in charge now."
cent, yeah. And so that's how that works.
But
so
like,
then,
how strict is it? Like if I was in that family and I wanted to buy something, do I have to ask his permission every time I want to get
see,
something?
depends on what you want to buy. Like
I mean,
if you're like,
like
all
a
right,
Groceries.
no, see
Okay.
that wouldn't be that big. Like if you're like, all right, I need my first car. So they have
Right.
4 family cars that they all share. Like that's how it works.
How many people are sharing them?
So I would say about 8.
8?
Yeah.
That's pretty fair. Like,
Yeah.
8 for 4? No,
Yeah.
it's not bad at all.
But then
2 for
these
2
are
to 1.
also like people who are kind of well off. So like then it kind of gets worse as you go
right.
down the
No, I'm
socioeconomic,
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So then you have like people like 8 to 1, which is, yeah.
That's pretty rough.
Sometimes it's 8 to 1 motorbike, which is kind of it's got like 3 on the tank, 3 on the back. Actual
It's just
thing, you
like-
should look it up too.
It's like the acrobats are like holding on to each other. People are just like
dude, I
hanging
have
off the
seen
side.
a toddler, right? Like not even a toddler, like a 2-year-old on handlebars. Like this 2-year-old kid this dude had his whole family on a motorbike.
jeez.
And it was like his wife was really at the back, then 2 kids in the middle, and
Right.
then this dude was on the tank, like the dude driving the motorcycle was on the tank. And then he had another kid in front of him, and then he had a dude just like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Balanced on the
exactly,
handlebars?
Balanced, like he was just like, the other kid was holding this kid on the, like, it was the craziest thing. And I know it's like they're that, like they're that below the poverty line, they actually can't afford that. But it's just once you see that stuff, it kind of puts things into perspective of like
Right.
what here is normal. Like the poverty line here doesn't even register there, in some circles.
Right.
and
No,
stuff
I'm
like
sure.
that.
Again, that's just the first world country.
Exactly.
That's what #first world problems. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't have electricity today. It's like, oh man, I couldn't eat for a month.
Exactly,
It's like
yeah.
two totally different, world views is what I was trying to say. Something like that. So what about the food? What can you tell me about the food in Pakistan versus food here? Is it
So definitely a lot of flavor, I would say.
a lot of flavor there?
Like in terms of spices, yes.
Okay.
Like we came here and my dad was like, all right, everything's salty. I was like, because it definitely, we were actually having this conversation yesterday. It's like, there's like tolerance to spices.
Right.
And once you come here, it definitely starts to go away because of, how much of like different spices that you're exposed to here. Primarily, I would say, is a little less than, because we were like in the 19th century, we were the like spice exporting hub of the world. Like that's
Right.
how Great Britain got the name Great, because they acquired us and then they were like, we really like those spices, and people were paying, like I was looking at some like relative terms, people were paying like gold's weight in spices, which is crazy today.
That is
like,
crazy.
But yeah, so that was and that's kind of the culture there. It's a lot of like spicy stuff. Not so I would say where Avi's from, which I believe is either southern India or East India, kind of that area, it gets like I will not say worse. It gets like it
Spicier?
gets spicier as you're going like eastward.
So how much you can handle a lot of spice? Then you'd say that you are a spice connoisseur.
Yes, but our cuisine was very, I think it would cross over very nicely because it was mostly like barbecue, not that spicy. Those stuff where I'm from Punjab, it's like a province in Pakistan.
Okay.
So that cuisine from where I'm from is very like it crosses over very nicely because it's not that spicy,
And so like when you got here, you were still cooking the same things.
My mom still, dude, you should come over sometimes. Like we have like this daily thing. It's like a daily. My mom makes like a huge. Either like a curry pot or something, and then it's just like
I'm saying I can't handle spices very well. I'll say
honestly, my mom doesn't. Our food isn't that bad.
Well, see, I feel like you say that, then I come over, my mouth is on fire.
And,
see, like I'm saying, like, do you think that Bojangles tenders are spicy?
By the way, I just had those like yesterday. Worst decision.
What's wrong with Bojangles tenders?
I've had them like every day for like 2 weeks. So.
No, Farhan, no.
But yeah, I mean, Bojangles isn't. Are you talking about like Cajun? Or
I'm just saying, like sometimes I find them a little spicy, and that's just like that's how lame my spice senses are.
Dude, that's just salt. That's
no,
not spice.
Farhan, I hear what you're saying. They're still spicy, and I know they're not spicy, but I'm saying like I've definitely gotten better about it though. But like Diego and I tried the Carolina Reaper pepper.
Like that. Okay, that's some real.
I mean,
right.
it's supposed to be. It was supposed to be the hottest at the time.
Right, and then I threw up because it was so hot.
There's nothing that compares to that in like our food.
Are you sure? It's not all like just
you just turn your mom's just like dumping Carolina Reaper peppers in
fried
there.
peppers. There you go.
It's like Farhan, you lied to me. It's like my eyes are tearing up and then I die.
I mean, from what I've experienced, Thai and Eastern Asian cuisines are way like spicier than what we, because I have a Korean friend and his mom makes stuff that will like it's just heat. There's no flavor. Like, it's just like
they just give you like some fire.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
You just put it in and just start sweating. That's it. Like, but yeah.
Okay, what is curry to like your family? Because I feel like it's so different everywhere. How would you explain curry?
Ours isn't as watery as the stereotypical.
So it's
one.
like kind of saucy, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Ours is more like, and we love like. Meat is like a thing in every dish, like
any kind of meat or like what kind of meat?
I would say chicken predominantly, but then we don't really have turkey over there.
Okay,
that's not a thing. And then beef, mutton, goat meat, stuff like that. It's pretty nice. I've had camel once. That was very cool.
Did it taste any different than any other food you've had, or could you definitely tell that this was not chicken?
I could tell you if it was camel is what I'm saying. It's more stringier, I guess.
Okay.
In a good way.
So have you ridden a camel?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Although contrary to what people think, I didn't go to school in my camel. That was not a thing. Even though like I did convince someone of that, and it was like way too quick too. Like I was like, I used to go to school in a camel, and they're like, oh yes, and like it was completely normal. So. Yeah, I have ridden a camel, but even there, it's like a novelty. It's not, it's not the norm.
Not everyone's riding camels. Yeah. There's like camels next to Toyota.
Yeah, exactly.
I think something that people don't realize about camels is that they're so big. Like they're gigantic creatures.
Are they bigger than horses?
They're much
horse
taller.
Is like
really
tiny in compared to they tower over, especially their necks. Yeah, exactly.
It's also so like camels.
Okay.
Like I used a ladder to get on one. I'm not even camels not a joke. Like actually, it was like a 3-step that I had to like get up to.
I think it's cool how camels like lay down because their knees are like inverted.
Oh yeah.
So their front two like fold like this, and then their back two fold like so. They sit down like. I don't know. I want to describe.
It's like their hooves are like right under their chests.
Right, and so then they just like they bend out.
Yeah.
I would compare it if you're a car person. I'd compare it to like the BMW i3, how the doors open. That's what I think of.
Yeah.
Like that's how the camel.
It's like a weird way.
Yeah. It's like inverted of the normal way, and that so they like lay down, then you get on their back. I've never ridden a
Yeah,
camel. I just
I mean,
grandfather's ridden a
mine
couple.
wasn't. Mine was kind of stubborn, so he was like,
Stubborn,
he
you
was
would
like,
not-
was
Was
like,
he
dude,
spitting on
I'm
you or
not
something?
getting on my knees for you. And I was like, all right, ladder.
So
I respect that.
Where did you go on the camel? Not to
And I
school,
mean,
apparently.
This was just a joyride, so it was just
Joyride.
This
You're
was
just-
actually yeah, exactly.
Farhan's just like whipping on the camel.
I wasn't racing him, but like there was this dude who just like he kind of like put me across, like he kind of led the camel, and then because I don't know how to ride a camel, so
Right. I'll say I also don't know how to ride
exactly.
a camel.
So like so he just it wasn't as exciting. I mean, it's definitely cool to sit on top of like something that's freaking like 8 feet tall, you know.
Right.
It's-
So what do you hold on to when you're up there? Did you?
They
I assume
have,
you don't hold on to the other humps.
that would be just hug it, but like
They have like the steers thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like a
Similar to a horse.
horse.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
much.
and you sat. Was it a one hump, a two hump
Yeah,
camel?
mine was unfortunately a one hump because
Oh,
he was
that's-
he wasn't. I mean, he was well fed, but he wasn't.
he was a
didn't-
male.
I think so.
I was just making that.
I definitely saw something, and then I was like, that's too big.
Back
But I was like, I don't want to. Like they used to call it the fifth like 5-legged stallion, but like I didn't used to question any of that. I was too young at the time.
5 legged stallion.
Yeah, I don't.
I like that.
No, I don't.
It's like, no, I don't.
Oh my god.
Because my grandfather went to Israel recently, and that's where they rode some camels, and they said like it was also a novelty there, but people would like pull up to shops with their camels sometimes, and so it's a little different in Pakistan, I guess.
About as common as
So
like
what?
people riding horses here. Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Now
like, people
you
have
know.
horses, but
But now they're more of like
It's like a cool
pleasure.
thing to
yeah,
do,
exactly.
yeah.
it's just a luxury item. Still.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure in tourist areas they're still trying to sell people their camels because tourists
Yeah.
will definitely ride camels.
But it's also so like Pakistan isn't as arid as people think. It's not.
okay.
Like,
That was actually going to be my next question.
so
is,
yeah,
like,
exactly. So it's not all desert. It's like where I'm coming from. I would say Pakistan is definitely split into two major like not climate regions, but like in terms of vegetation, it's like northern Pakistan is way more greener, and then southern Pakistan starts getting drier as you come down the
Okay,
coast.
and so
to-
you lived in which spot?
Spank bang in the middle. So I was
Oh,
like,
good.
it's almost like a transition. So it's definitely like a semi-arid area, but
Okay.
there's definitely like trees and stuff. Like it's I wouldn't like Raleigh is way more has a lot more vegetation, obviously, but like
right.
from where I am, it's not like I did not know what a tree was. That was also a funny thing. So I came here 2012, and I went to my neighbors. It has nothing to do with trees, by the way. I went to my neighbors, and this dude was actually like completely serious. Started explaining what a microwave was mid sentence. That was the funniest thing that's ever happened to me. Like I've never. He was like, "All right, this is so you put it in a timer, and heats your food up. It's pretty cool." And I was like.
Wow.
But
Just
yeah.
like totally in shock.
Exactly.
You just like sold it.
But
I
yeah,
hate
so-
Americans sometimes.
I thought it was pretty funny, dude.
Dude, I've been using a microwave since I was like 6.
But yeah, so in terms of vegetation, it's not as bad.
Have you seen like deserts?
Yes. I've been to. So there's this place called Tur in Pakistan. It's southern Pakistan. It's a desert. And then obviously I've been to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, which is just all desert.
I mean,
so.
Dubai is where all the supercars are. That's
Yes.
where they're hiding
So
them
that's
all.
what I was about to say. It's like in terms of camels, you find that more in like Dubai and Abu Dhabi because like every car there is a supercar, pretty much. Like
Dubai
but
seems like a
wow.
cool place to go to.
it definitely is. Like
Is it expensive though? That'd be my worry about going to Dubai.
I would say the plane ticket costs more.
Right.
It's definitely the shopping hub of the world. I would say
the
now.
world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because not a lot
Bold,
of
bold statements.
Dude, I would, I know people who used to go from like 3 or 4 countries to go there because there's literally no tax on retail there. So you just,
Whoa, what?
yeah,
So things are just
Oh,
are they much cheaper?
cheaper, yeah. Like
Okay.
you can get Rolexes like, 20 G off not G's, I guess. Like
A good amount.
how much?
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Tax
Tax
costs
is
a
like
lot, yeah.
retail tax here is 7.5%,
Right.
And then there's a lot of other taxes and built into like production of
Right,
of the
right.
thing. So like by the time you get out, it's like 20, less than that probably.
Right.
But there's none over there, none on cars, which is
Hence why there's
weird.
all the
A lot.
supercars. That's
Yeah.
why
Are
it'd be funny to see like the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and a camel, just like
No,
all
that's,
lined up next
and
to each
that's,
other.
Like their police. Have you looked up their police force?
No.
Yeah,
Look
they're
up the
literally
dude,
Lamborghinis, I think. Yeah.
Aventador, Bugatti. Like
Yeah.
that's their police force.
So
like,
you're not outrunning them, is what you're telling me.
exactly, yeah.
Everyone's
That's
on
their
the same
argument
playing
too.
field, yeah.
Exactly. That was their argument. They were like, we need these cars to catch other cars who were just this fast. You know? Like, and it's kind of so. That's the thing. It's like you will see this stuff like this dude pulling out with a camel there, but just because he's rich. There's no
Right.
there's no cultural value.
Yeah. Also
to
in
it.
that same garage is an Aventador.
Exactly. Yes. So.
Camo parked in the and you own both of them.
It's like poops on it.
It's like not again.
I've definitely seen they seem to have some sort of fetish with tigers though. Like that's a definite thing.
In
Like,
Dubai.
yeah, they're like, oh, we'll tame a tiger, and I'm like,
That's crazy.
yeah, I'm like, that's
I would not mess with a
exactly.
tiger.
And no, they have videos like
Tigers are big.
their face is like 6 times the face of mine, and this dude will literally just put his face right next to the tiger, and be like completely,
Yeah.
not.
And the
scared.
tiger's cool with him?
Yeah, he's just there.
He's just chilling until he decides that he's upset one day. Then he eats his owner, and then he takes over the Lamborghini, takes over that title.
I used to always think that tigers and like lions were like similar cats, but it's not even close.
I'd never ventured into that.
That was never,
I'm just saying, like a tiger's like 3 times the size of a
How are
lion.
they different? I'm not
No,
aware.
Besides the size.
Besides, I don't know anything besides the size. I just thought
How
like,
big is a tiger?
a
then?
tiger lion fight would be like, oh, that's pretty even. I bet not even close.
It'd have to be a male tiger versus a female lion. I'll say male on male. I think the male lion would get demolished because I think the male lions they just sleep. They sleep for like.
Wait, so who's
No,
bigger?
male lions are
The tiger is bigger
even
than
though
the
male
male
lions
lion. Oh,
don't.
wow.
Male lions don't hunt. They are the protectors of the herd,
I think it's pretty
and
stupid.
so they're supposed to be the badasses. They're just so big that
They're kind of lazy though.
They
yeah,
are
they're so lazy. So like,
they sleep for like 20 hours a day or something like
I
that.
know.
While
It's
the
like
girls like go out.
they,
there.
yeah. They just wake up, eat, move a little bit, then
Anyone
fall
needs some
asleep again.
protection? No, all right, go back to sleep.
No protection. All right. Send the all clear.
That's why I thought the Lion King's kind of like not factually correct because all it shows is like the male lions doing stuff.
Balling out,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't show like the other 17 hours where the male lion's just
He
sleeping.
sleeps like all the time.
That's pretty good. Okay, so you've traveled. Where have you traveled? Like over there? Is it easy to travel? Like what's the time to travel over there?
With my passport, no, it's awful to travel.
Why?
Because my passport is the 3rd worst actually in the world.
What does that mean? I don't
it
know what that
So
means.
they're ranked by access to countries without visas. So I guess
like an American passport, you
Yeah,
get,
so-
you get in everywhere.
exactly
basically.
right.
It's
So
like a
for the American
first-class
passport, you get a ticket and then you just go to the country, right? And then they stamp you on arrival. It's like a 90-day period. For us, we have to go to the country's like embassy, consulate in Pakistan, which is what I had to do for America.
Right.
Go there and apply for a visiting visa, and then it's like a process. Like mine didn't get processed for like 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
So
which
family
was-
vacations must be really tough.
Yeah,
if you wanna go to
exactly.
these
So the one
places.
where we had to come in. So the first time I came was in 2008, I think, into America, and
Is that when you
like-
applied for things?
yeah, exactly. So we applied, and it was like we literally had to apply a year in advance of our vacation. We had to plan our vacation like a year in advance.
That's crazy.
Which is
So, but you can't get an American passport until you're a citizen.
yeah.
Okay, so is that something that you're looking forward to?
Yes, that's that's kind of my thing of because otherwise I think it'd be me traveling would be more fluid. I guess like I would have definitely liked to go abroad for my college years and stuff like that.
Right, but you just can't.
Yeah,
because
exactly. I have to
even through
show-
state, you can't do it. Like state doesn't make it easier to travel.
Okay, study abroad would be different because once like state's behind you, like state sends in a letter and stuff, and then the process becomes decently easier.
Okay.
But for like actually, like going to a university abroad, or, not being connected to a university here, it would be way harder. Also, the fact that I have to show 6 months of living in the United States for my green card. Like I have to be a resident for 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
Which you have done at this point, obviously.
I haven't really traveled that much. Since
I mean, because it sounds like it's so tough and you have to plan so far in advance. It's just like not even worth it.
I have to upturn my whole life. I've been to Pakistan once ever since we got our green card, and that was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
So, and I think this year we're trying, but Pakistan's way easier too because we have a Pakistani passport, so you can just go back without a visa.
Okay.
But those are like my only 2 countries right now.
You can just go back and forth between the two.
Yeah. Which also takes like my flights are like 15 hours long. So that's
not straight though. How many layovers is that?
I think usually it's either Manchester or Dubai. So 7 hours or 12 hours straight to 7 to Manchester from here.
Yeah.
And it's usually from JFK to New York. So there's no flights from like Raleigh straight to Pakistan.
Right. I mean, that'd be a weird connection. How many Pakistani, is that correct?
Yep.
How many of, where's the hub for Pakistani in America? Like, is there one city that is like, is it Raleigh? New York?
Raleigh.
No, I don't know. I was just like sometimes there's just these random cities that all New York of a certain culture.
New York has everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like they have like little Pakistans there, like the communities, and then you get enough of the little China, stuff like that. So they have those there, which is just, I know Chicago has a street, which is just, it's a Pakistani food street, and it's a whole street of like Pakistani food. And
I've been there actually.
Really?
Yeah,
dude, I've heard that it reminds you like that is the.
I mean, it's like a different country.
Exactly.
That's what's so cool about big cities, because like even in Chinatown in New York, it's like they have all the classic architecture and stuff like
everything that you would think of if you're stereotyping China.
I know.
Like a stereotype China, that's what it looks like.
I think it's cool, but.
China, like Americans are so stupid.
Like, I was actually talking to one of my Chinese friends. I was like, "Do you guys actually eat Chinese, like American Chinese cuisine?" He's like, "Dude, I don't even know. Like, who is General So?" Like, he's like, "I have no idea." Like he is no. He's just like, "I just came here and they showed me these recipes, and we don't make any of these back in China." I'm like,
right. Well, I feel like Pakistani. What am I saying? The Pakistan food is not like it's not been Americanized. I don't think I don't think Americans have like caught on to the Pakistan wave of like, we want Pakistani food.
Yeah, I think it gets grouped in with Indian food, which is which is right. Like they're pretty similar.
Right.
And then it's like, but I will say like higher class successful Pakistani Indian restaurants do like take down the spice levels a lot to cater to the general.
You're saying like if we went over to Pakistan and we ordered like spicy, then we would die versus here spicy
exactly.
Like doable.
Over here they give you a scale of like 1 to 5, which no one does in Pakistan. Like, they're not like like volume scroller.
Right.
So it's pretty it's pretty interesting.
And so I also just this was something that I wanted to ask about earlier. I just want to hear more about the schooling. Like I wanted to ask, do they teach English from from when you get into school? Because you said that like you didn't really understand some of the like subtleties of the English language, which I also don't think I understand some of it, because English is just confusing for no reason.
I think it's so ours is a British education system predominantly.
So it's like primary and then secondary, you're saying?
Kind of. So it's relating to. So I learned English and my native language of Urdu simultaneously. That's just how my schooling was.
Okay.
And that's how usually, and private schooling is very prevalent there, and that's how usually most private schools are. And so the reason when I came here I didn't really get the terminology and stuff is because ours is British based, so it's just So you're
using like British words.
Yeah, exactly.
Like loo and like
exactly. Like I used aluminium, aluminum, that stuff. Like that was what I was.
People must have been really confused. They're like, okay, what is this guy saying?
Exactly. Like I was just like aluminium. I was like, what? So it was more, but I was at least me and my friends were mostly, it was simultaneous and we were fluent, just like any other American kid, pretty much. Like the language was never a crossover problem. It was more like, when I say terminology, it's more like the metric system.
It's like you're a British kid coming here.
Exactly, yeah.
That's about the same.
Right.
Okay.
And so how many people were, like, are they big private schools? Is it like 20 kids in your class, or is it like 200, 300? Like,
my private school was huge. It was, I think, wow, it was a lot of people. 6,000.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. But it was like,
What was that, K through 8? What was that?
So over there, it's starting from, it's like preschool, and then grade 1 through 8 is middle school, and then 9 through 11 is O levels, which is like, it's British, so it's like ordinary. It's technically supposed to mean ordinary levels. I don't really know why.
Is that high school then?
Yes.
So 9 through 11 is high school.
High school, and then there's a intermediate. So you don't directly go to college. There's a 2-year intermediate thing of more school. It's called A levels, and it's like a intermediate step. Yeah, advanced to like, and then that's like a precursor to college. But then college is
University.
University or college is usually traditionally 3 to 4 years, not 4 to 5.
Huh.
So it kind of works out the same, kind of.
So it still sounds like you have 2 extra years, though, right?
No. I mean, from 9 to 11.
It would be like
right?
1 extra year.
Yeah, that's right. Because
but then college is shorter.
Shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it works.
It works out the same.
Huh.
Sort of.
Cool.
But even then, it's like, it really doesn't make a
Yeah,
difference.
It's just like different. So you got where did you get to before you came over here?
I started 9th grade over there, and then I moved here second semester of my freshman year of high school.
So that was probably pretty different for you.
Yeah, that was.
That's just like a tough time.
I had like
transfer.
movie references was what I had. Like, I thought I'd be coming here to like have 6 girlfriends like right away. Didn't pan out.
Did not work out.
Yeah. Because like that's all like High School Musical was actually my reference to American like experience.
High school society.
Right.
Obviously that was
Every lunch.
Farhan's like ready.
I was like snapping.
You're like practicing the songs on the way home.
Just burst out into the song. I was like, "Oh my goodness, Pakistani people are so weird." They probably ride their camels to school.
Yeah.
How was the media there? Did you get like all the movies we got here, or like?
The Hollywood culture is very big. Also the Bollywood culture, which is kind of weird. So like we're always at war. Not really, but like we always have conflict with India, and then we love their movies. Like, like we're just like, oh god. Not just that. It's like their TV, everything. Like it's so crazy, and so yeah, I was never I was never.
It wasn't like North Korea or like
No,
Russia or
yeah,
something.
exactly.
You went there and they hadn't
Right,
seen like the past 10
exactly.
years of movies.
They have problems with so it's a Islamic state, so they had problems with YouTube at one point for a video about like Muhammad.
That makes
which
sense.
is like they don't really understand that YouTube doesn't have power over that, right? So
Right.
it's like independent uploaders and they can upload whatever they want. So
Right.
it's just like
So they just had a problem with the company YouTube.
Exactly. They were like, YouTube banned this, and they're like, no, it's against our like it's freedom of speech. We can people can put on whatever
Right.
they want, and so they got mad over that. So they shut down YouTube for a bit, but then people get away around that by like proxy websites,
Right,
which is a
right.
common thing in those countries. It's like that's how. Funny fact, like porn was banned there, and then Islamabad, which is our capital, was in the top 7 countries who watch porn in the world. Like, and we're talking about like New York with like 14 million people, and we're talking about Islam. Like Islamabad has a lot of people, nowhere near. So they must be watching
Prohibition of
porn.
porn watching.
Exactly. Like they must be watching porn
God.
24/7.
That's just like the worst thing someone can do. Like that's just like what's known. Like if you don't want something on the internet, don't let people know you don't want it on the internet, because then
Exactly,
the internet will just blow it up. And so like if you ban anything, people are gonna flock to
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
Like even if people are just gonna be like, I don't want to do this, but because that
exactly.
I'm rebelling. That's what I'm doing.
Gotta retweet it.
That's pretty good. So what? How was the like? Pakistan is you said Islamic,
Yeah,
right?
it's Islamic Republic.
So how was that transit? Was there like did you find a difference here? Like, is your family like deeply religious over there, and they've switched over here?
No. So one of the reasons, I wouldn't say this was a primary reason of moving, but so. All right, so over there, like families, I guess, families with political clout. So over there, like if you have political clout, you can pretty much get away with a lot of stuff, right? So and like this is it means like a douchey way. It's like, oh, my family, is pretty big over there. It's just kind of a really
deal,
yeah. It's kind of a messed up thing though. It's like you get away with a lot of stuff, but one of the things that there like exist there are like blasphemy laws and stuff like that, so you can't openly go and say there's no God. Like you just can't say
right.
that, right?
People would be pretty upset, I think.
No, they like it's a death penalty.
Oh,
so, yeah,
wow, they would be very upset.
Yeah, you would be dead. And so I'm predominantly while I was there, I was an atheist. Oh, I was
quietly
agnostic. Yes, very. No, but that's the thing. I wasn't quiet about it, and like there was a point where. So my family can handle most things, right? Like, because we have like clout and stuff.
Political clout. That
exactly.
Makes
so
you
like
a big deal.
So like so for most things they're like, whatever, like, because the blasphemy laws there are used for political purposes primarily. It's like if you don't like someone, it's like, oh, he said that God doesn't exist, and then everyone, it's just like it's
kill
like
him, kill
exactly.
him.
It's like character assassination, but like the assassination part
is
actually
real.
Yeah,
it's literal.
So like So with us, they got to a point where it was okay, but then I was fairly like rebellious about it, I guess. So like in Ramadan, like I'm not really disrespectful to like Islam, but in Ramadan, like I wasn't really a fast keeper, right? Which is it's a holy month,
You can't eat during the daytime.
Yes, it's from sunrise to sunset.
Right.
Can't eat or drink.
Right.
And yeah, and I was not down with that.
We had someone, that's what Abdul did that. He played
Yeah.
soccer during Ramadan. He couldn't drink water like during and after games. And it was just like,
poor guy.
yeah, and he was our best player. He was just like sprinting around. Anyways,
we had
continue.
our best player, what's his name? Damn, he actually goes to state now. He is from Leesville. I went to Leesville Road. And Ali Dean, he was like, this dude would show up. And when it's worse, so... the Islamic calendar is around the lunar, it's a lunar calendar, so it moves around in reference to
the moon.
Yeah, and so sometimes the month of Ramadan will fall in summer, and sometimes it'll fall in the winter. Summer, he was here, and he would go to like soccer tryouts, and like the coach knew this, so that thank God, like he was a culturally aware dude,
right,
so he could cut him some slack, but. So we had 2 workouts a day for like tryouts for Leesville.
Right.
And this kid would show up at like 10 a.m., haven't eaten anything since 4, and then he'd show up again at 6, and then he like 4-ish. And these were like peak sun, when you come at 4, it's the most heat. It's like 90 degrees
right.
at least. And he would work out twice, and we saw within the space of a week that he lost like 7 pounds, and it was like he had to forcefully eat while after like he broke his fast in through the night just to keep his like weight maintained. It was crazy, and
crazy.
he was like dangerously dropping below. Like,
yeah, I mean it's just tough. It's tough to do
exactly.
that.
I think I was 10. This is when I decided this will I wasn't gonna fast. This was a while ago. I think I was like 10 or 11. And I was playing soccer, and in Pakistan it gets way hotter. It goes to like Las Vegas levels of heat, and it was like 115.
Oh my goodness!
And I passed out. Like, I was playing soccer. All I remember, played a pass, great pass by the way, and just like blacked out. Woke up in my bed. I was like, wow, this is the greatest day. No school, no nothing. But yeah, so that used to happen, and people didn't really other kids didn't really like me because I was like so openly,
eating.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just over there just eating chips.
Exactly. I wasn't really disrespectful about it, but over there's a lot of like, there's no like, oh, you do you. It's more like, oh, like.
What are you doing?
Exactly, and it's like a lot of it's very socially regulated behavior, and through a social system that's primarily based on like the practices of Islam.
Right.
So like for them, it's kind of offensive if you're like not just not keeping it fast, but like openly, displaying that you're not fasting.
Right.
So that became a problem. And then my dad was actually, I feel legitimately scared that, not scared, like I felt that my dad was legitimately scared for my and my brother's safety a little when we were moving here. And I was kind of relieved about that because we were getting to a point where we were like, you know, we were gonna take a stand for what we believe in, kind of, in terms of like
you and your brother were gonna take a stand,
like in terms of like God and, you know, whatever, like atheism,
right,
stuff like that. So if people were like, oh, you don't believe in God, then we would have not said no. You know, it was getting to that point, and
right, and then you would have gotten killed.
Exactly, he didn't want us to like first. It's like two dumb kids to like, you know, try to be like over. You know, try to prove their manliness and then get killed for over nothing. So
right.
That was kind of another thing.
How do they get kids to fast? Like how like I feel like that would be so tough as a kid. Just like you'd be hungry and thirsty.
It's like, you can't do that to an American kid, but
well,
like
no,
for
right,
them
no.
it's what they know, right?
I don't know. I
think it's built up to be one of the greatest services that you can do for God. Kind of.
Okay,
it's like you know, and so like kids are actually excited about it.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like
do you only get to do it at a certain age? Is it like you can't start Ramadan until you're X years old or something like that?
It's not really written, but it's like the general like unspoken thing is like 12 years old. It's like 12 years old.
Okay.
Then you.
So okay,
you know,
so I guess that makes sense. They're just like
exactly,
so now you can start like doing
fasting,
Ramadan.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be tough. Like one of the guy Malik.
Yeah, Malik Abu was on a couple days ago,
and he's doing Ramadan, which is tough. He's a D1 athlete. That must be incredibly tough for him to do workouts when he can't drink or eat during the daytime.
Wow, that's the type of dedication that I can never muster.
Right, exactly. That's why you moved to America.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and then that's the thing, and like over here, the fasts are 3 hours longer too, because like the sun goes down here at like 8. You know, like over there it goes down like 5, so that makes it relatively easier.
Yeah, no, if it's at 5, then that's still around dinner time.
Exactly,
that's like I mean, it's not fun not to eat the entire day, but it's possible. I guess
it's way better than, you know, like over here, like Ali Dean has to wait till like 8:30, which is just ridiculous.
So he's like very devout. He's like very like.
Yeah, in terms of practicing,
he was
like, I mean, he's here, and in terms of practicing Muslim, I would say he's pretty devout. You know, he prays and fast and, you know, everything.
Right. So in your school, it was like, did they have like prayers that you all had to
no, it wasn't.
Or was it not like that?
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was never enforced upon us. It was more like the social, you know, like people frown. You know,
yeah, like everyone's going to pray.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Just but if you want to join.
Yeah, but it never happened between school though. It works out in the timings of like 7:00 in the morning to like 1:30 in the afternoon. There's no like prayer, so it kind of fit in, you know, in that place where we never had to be like, oh, it's prayer time, let's get all the kids and like let's all pray, you know?
Right. It was just like something you did. I don't know,
in your own time, kind of.
Right.
Like,
so is in the Muslim faith, did you have to? It's a certain number of times, right? Isn't it? It's like 6 a day, 5 a day.
5 a day, and then it starts from Fajr, which is like 5:00 in the morning. And then there's one right after when school was ending, kind of like it was like 2:00, and then there's a couple that fall according to like summer or winter, but they fall like kind of I would say like 4:00, 4:30ish, and then 7, and then there's one at night, kind of. So it's like the bulk of them are kind of after when most people would come back from work, and you know.
Right.
Like
so it's all conveniently placed, like where the, as you said, like the government didn't have to step in and say, hey, it's this time, but. Okay, I understand.
And that probably changed with like society and stuff.
Exactly.
Like I bet it wasn't like written in, you know. So
it's just like none of it. The government usually doesn't enforce anything over there in terms of like religious faith, but now it's starting to it is starting to change, because it's like, so we didn't even used to be an Islamic republic. It was just a republic, and it was a secular state to start with. But then in 1956, I believe, or around about that, so it was made in 47, 56. There was a military coup, and the dude who came over, he was like, now, you know, this is the right thing to do, but obviously you can't enforce like moral rights and wrongs,
right?
Because there's other people there, like there's a decent Christian, Hindu Buddhist.
Right. Yeah, I would feel like definitely like the India, like because of your
partition,
complicated relationship with
Exactly.
India, there's going to be.
So when they broke it up in 47, a decent like contingent of Hindus, Sikhs, and other faiths were on this side, right? And so then they became the minorities, and they are too. There's no glossing over it. So they are persecuted at some points because of like because their reference to morality is their religion, so which kind of overlooks other people's religion, because then it's like not everyone has the same right or wrong as you do.
And so when you came to America, do you feel more free? Like you were saying, like you and your brother were going to stand up to the man,
exactly,
but now in America, did you feel that pressure relieved?
Yeah, pretty much. Now it's just no one cares. Like I can,
Right, you can say within reason whatever you want.
I say a lot of stuff, like we've tried.
I hate Americans.
Like
just bring it all back.
Reverse. I will never say that on a mic. I'm trying to get the FBI.
That's true.
If the FBI is listening to this podcast, shout out.
FBI director, if you want to come on.
We actually, good.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay, wonderful. I was gonna say we actually know someone who knows one of the FBI directors, and so we got to try and get that hooked up.
Wow,
that's
that would
cool.
be interesting.
I think it's like a former FBI director, but
it was just a sorority sister of a friend.
VC? Wow, that would be he's like, dude, where is 246? That's dude like the half-mile walk. I did not sign up my Saturdays for like.
It's like, why are there so many stains on the carpet? Like, what is on the ceiling over there?
Exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, this is a college dorm.
Yeah. Hey, no, but seriously though, if you want to come on, like, you're more than welcome to. Like, shout out.
FBI director.
Yeah, FBI director.
That'd be so dope.
I just feel like they couldn't talk though. I feel like it'd be like, hey, I have this awesome story, but I can't tell you guys.
Exactly,
and it's like, this is the point of the podcast, is that we want to hear it we want to put it on wax.
I still don't think, even with that, I still don't think you would refuse the FBI director coming on the show.
Oh, 100%. Exactly. Like if the FBI director wanted to come on the show and just be silent, I'd still put the name in the title. Current FBI director.
Supervisor.
Or like if like Comey came on. Like,
dude, that would be interesting.
Who?
The former FBI director that just got fired by Trump.
Oh, okay.
He probably has a lot of tales to tell. Man.
I'm sure. I don't know why he would come on. He's a tall man. He's like 6 something. He's like 6'7" or something
really?
like that.
Wow.
He's gigantic.
Never knew that.
Yeah, I don't know. I never knew he was that tall, and then I looked it up, and he's like, yeah, James Comey is like taller than everyone that you know.
That's part of the reason I think actually why people think Trump fired him.
Is he so tall?
He's like big. He like towers over Trump.
Dude,
and
I like past presidents. I'll be like, no way. But like this dude, I completely understand, because this dude is literally, he's like a control. In my opinion, I think he's kind of a control freak. And like when he saw this dude towering over him, he probably got a little.
He's not like a pushover either. So then it's like,
so what were your thoughts? Without going into too biased, about the American election from like someone who, like, you, as you said, like, you can't vote. So what was your thoughts of just like watching it happen? Like, I guess you were in it, but at the same time you were outside of it, because you were just like,
exactly,
you're looking at both sides of it, and you're just like, well, I can't help either side. I'm curious what your thoughts were as a.
I just thought it was interesting that most of these policies would affect people like me, right? And like getting in
people
Trump,
like you in what way?
and like immigrants.
Okay,
I guess, you know? Like and like we kind of had to like just not that I'm saying it's unfair. It's really not. I'm not a citizen, whatever. But like I just had to watch and like give my 2 cents whenever it was asked for. So I don't honestly. I think if you're I know the LGBTQ community was kind of scared when Trump was in.
I think they're scared of Pence too. I think that's
that they're scared of pretty much everyone. And this isn't in no ways biased, because it's just like they try to. In my opinion,
they're
the problem.
Old school though.
Yeah, exactly. I think 2005, 2000, around there, like when the Tea Party, if you guys are familiar, started to take over. I think that was more where it started became like, oh, we'll put like Christian views, like, and that's something that I'm afraid of, because I've come from a country where they tried to do that. It never works out. Dude.
Right.
Like, if it's like religious, so that's my only thing. It's like whenever I see stuff that's like religiously motivated, I get kind of scared, especially when it's mostly the Republicans, which was my issue with them. Because all the like the immigrant stuff was really posturing. Like I don't think, you know, like I don't think I know that there are people who are like, oh, these immigrants come outside to take our jobs, but like I don't think like you know, properly educated people don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because they've read economic theory, it's like, you know, I'm bringing, like my dad's coming here, he's like in the second highest tax bracket. Right. He's paying into the tax system. Isn't even eligible right now for like Social Security benefits, stuff like that, right?
Right.
So like what, you know, whose job is he taking? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like who is he? Like if anything, you're getting higher earning individuals into the tax system, which is better for everyone.
Right. Well, I think that they're not.
I hate the stereotype though, but it's like most of the immigrants might take the jobs that Americans probably don't even want, like
exactly.
Jobs
that was one of the things.
Like
it was like when you have immigrants coming in. First of all, the American population is not that much. Like when you have countries like China, like they have no labor problems, right? Like. But America does kind of have labor problems. Like people talk about not having enough jobs. Like to some extent that is true, but that's more of a structural thing. If you think about the talent pool, you either have very, you know, like unskilled labor coming in that complements people in the middle class, or you have very high skilled labor, talking about people who come from India, go straight into Silicon Valley, you know, stuff like that, who also complement like the middle class where most Americans are, right? Like,
yeah.
And when I say middle class, I mean not just people are like, oh, there's no middle class anymore. You're wrong. You know. So if you read like economic theory or like most experts' views on this, they think it's complementary. That's why we're kind of successful as a nation, because like we've always been open to immigration. Also, I would also say that America, even with all of this, is very accepting of immigrants. But as what I've heard, because I have friends who tried for Australian immigration and Canadian, and from my experience, they found it harder than American. Yeah, which is
wow.
So like you have countries that don't really say a lot on the topic, right? And then they're still, like they're actually kind of stricter in these terms.
Right.
My problem was the rhetoric. I think it was very divisive.
Here's what I think is interesting is that like Southern people are like really against Mexicans.
Yeah.
And then like Mexicans are so much like Southern people, it's ridiculous. I went to Gander Mountain, and they're like, there's Hispanics in like hunting gear, and like same with Southern people, and like Hispanics are religious, Southern people are religious.
Dude,
like,
it's so weird. It's so weird that they hate someone who's so similar to them.
They're so similar, and it's like, what is going on here? They like hunting, fishing, all that stuff.
You guys would be friends. Just be friends.
I know.
Here's like, if you've ever seen like unrest in these like terms, like people talk about immigration stuff, when everything was good, like Ronald Reagan era, Bill Clinton's first era, no one said anything right about any of this stuff. So it was right as like economic downturn, oh, it has to be people outside the country
right
who influence everything, you know, like. So it was if you've ever seen The Big Short, it was a great movie. It's like that's what he says. It's like when you have a 2008 collapse, which was, if you ever want to go into details of that, like I will explain it, but it's very boring. So I don't think, you know. But the 2008 collapse was caused by the like negligence of the government and the banks in part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, banks were giving leases to like their dogs.
Dude,
like,
exactly.
Like
no, you had all right. So you had ratings. So you know,
and then they would bundle those leases to their dogs, to other dogs, and then like, continue it. And then when the dogs couldn't pay because they're dogs, then then boom, everything collapsed.
Another thing, like they had ratings agencies that were competing against each other, and this is why this is bad. It's like, all right, I'm a bank, I go to one, and I'm like, all right, I have this really shitty piece of mortgage.
Can you rate it AAA?
Exactly. And they're like, no. And then he's like, you know what? I'll just go to the next shop and give them a higher rate, and then they'll rate it AAA. So that's how this was like. Like, who the hell needs a privatized like ratings agency? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be a government-run thing, but like obviously, like that happened in nowhere. Like these people destroyed the American economy at its peak, right?
Yeah.
And like the one dude got this. He was the vice president of Swiss Bank, I believe, and it was his. He was also like, of course, this dude's name was Kareem. Like, you know, like it's the only foreigner they could find in like all of the banking sector, and he did jail time. Right? You lost half of the world's wealth. Like England's economy went to crap. Greece is still not out of it. Like Greece is just
is Greece still a country?
Exactly. Like I'm not even sure.
I don't think
like,
Greece is invited to the country parties.
None of
anymore.
that was caused by Mexicans coming over, taking our jobs, like Muslims coming over, taking our jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just like now it's like a fear mongering tactic. It's like, oh, it's them, it's not us. You know, which is kind of it's just I've seen it's a pattern. It happens all the time. Like and when obviously people don't like. In no way am I suggesting this is close to what Hitler did, but like the premise of what like Nazi Germany used to do was like
in terms of fear mongering.
Exactly. It was like alienation of a group, and then we'll blame everything on them, right? And of course, this is nowhere.
Right.
Let me be very clear.
Yeah, it's not the scale.
Exactly. Yeah, but the very like essence of it is kind of the same. It's like, and it's used all around the world. It's like to transfer blame.
Right.
Like
America's not the only place to
exactly.
do this. I mean, like I'm sure like there's like a distaste between religious groups in other parts of the world.
They do it predominantly in Pakistan. It's like
it's Britain and the European Union. It's
exactly. Like, it's like EU in Pakistan. It's these like all these infidels. You know, like and I'm talking about like some extremist sects. Obviously, not to generalize all of Pakistan, but like. In a lot of this rhetoric, it's like, oh, these people, it's like they're, you know, ungodly practices that have us in downturn. Like what they don't understand is like the country was made in 1947, in what 60 something years. Like we've only been in an economic downturn. So like all of it can't be them. You know, like at some point you got to accept responsibility. Right. But you know, I'm waiting for that day. That'll happen one day. So, and it's just I don't know. I don't think the Democrats were. I think the Democrats were dumb. Like Hillary. So the reason Trump harped onto the Rust Belt was that he was like, "I'm going to renegotiate trade deals," which Bernie said too, by the way. Which is kind of why he had Pennsylvania and all those states, right?
Yeah.
And then Hillary was like, "All right, these are blue states. It's all good. We're just not gonna." Like campaign over
just
there.
got lazy.
Exactly. No, I actually believe that.
That's
was
exactly
one thing,
what happened.
And that was just dumb. Like you know, like. And the thing is, but I have never seen a rift between the left and the right the way this is.
I agree. I think it's been just so
far on each side.
No, people are just so upset. Like the left is so mad at the right,
exactly.
and the right, like, but because I don't remember. I guess I was a little younger, and I wasn't like Twitter wasn't as big in me. But like when I look at like Donald Trump, and maybe it's just because of Donald Trump and like or President Trump, I guess, and like he's he's such a polarizing figure. But whenever he tweets, there's people responding to him like. Impeach Trump, and then there's people like liberal snowflakes, and there's just so much hate, probably not actual hate, but strong distaste for the other side. And it's not like
I think that this started, I will say this started in like 2005 when the Tea Party came in, and then their motto was, in no conditions do we take a defeat, right? Like, but back then, we were actually talking about this, me and my friends. So like back then, we would me and my friends who are immigrants mostly, or like I have this one kid, Japanese American, you know, mostly like very diverse group of people who said that they would be in most quarters conservatives prior to the Tea Party taking over, when they were like, all right, so our morals are derived by Christianity, and we never take no for an answer. I personally know that. Mitch McConnell once, and he's a senator. He's the majority leader, I think now.
Yeah. And
he once like held a 9/11 first responders bill as leverage for something that he wanted to get done, and the Democrats wouldn't pass it. That was like that's what started it. It was like at no point do we accept defeat. That was what it was. You know, it's like they'll use anything to get their own like. That's why the liberals keep losing, right? It's because like. I don't think the liberals aren't, you know, they have that kind of
dirty.
Exactly. It's they fight dirty, dude, and it's just, you know, like now you have a Senate and a House that's
it's all Republican. Yeah.
We just had like so much noise like, oh, John Ossoff's gonna win in freaking Georgia. No, like, you know, that's Republican. Like all the special races are gonna be Republican. And I still know people who never went out, voted, didn't vote, and then we're like, oh God, like, oh, what did we do?
Right.
Like.
It's also just so strange because like it seems like almost all the news is against Trump. Like they always tried ragging on him and everything. And
there's no like middle. It's like it's either MSNBC or you have Fox over there, and Hannity's just pooping on everyone. Like, it's like there's like.
It's just such a crazy time. It's just like it's so weird that Trump.
I think their ideologies like differ so much, right? Like,
yeah.
So you have the healthcare bill. That's one side's like, all right, all privatization, and then the other side's like no privatization,
right.
And then there's no middle. And then they tried passing that the one that excludes like 23 million people off their healthcare, right? And like, and then Rand Paul came out and he's like, this isn't enough. Like, we need to get government out of healthcare more. So they almost got to a point where they like tried signing this one, and then there's people who were like, this isn't good enough, and we should just make everything private. Like it should just be like privatized insurance,
right?
Which is problem with that is like rape is considered a what are they called, like the pre-existing condition. So like rape is considered, your insurance goes up if you've been raped, or like cancer. Stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. It's like you're considered more of a risk factor.
It's absurd.
So
I agree. That is.
And then the education plan, they're cutting. They propose.
So I've not read the new health bill. I know that liberal sites are very upset, and conservatives are making fun of the liberals for being upset.
And and the thing is, like, conservatives don't, when they introduce something, it's not all right, something we both can agree on. It's like, is this vicious circle of, we know we have the House and the Senate majority, so we're going to do whatever we want now, not thinking of the long-term like problem of this is when, because there will be a time when Democrats have both houses, right? Like, whatever, like there will be a time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a cycle.
Exactly, yeah. So when they come,
around.
they'll be like revenge time. Assholes. So like, no, seriously, and that's
how it goes.
Yeah, and then they will just, and this is just a circle.
I just feel like
there's just step back, step forward, step back, step forward.
Maybe I'm just this is just like positive thinking, or not positive thinking, but like remembering it. But was there this much like non-bipartisanship when like Obama was president, or even when like Bush was president before him? Like, I feel like, as you said, there's just never been this much like venom between the two sides. Like, I feel like there's no issues that
I think there wasn't when Bush was there, but primarily because the Tea Party wasn't there. And then the Tea Party came, and then Obama became president, and then they had this absurd stuff. Like,
I also think the internet has played a huge factor. Like roasting somebody or stuff like that is like cool on Twitter.
Exactly.
And like it's kind of getting in the political scene where you're just like
meme making. Like, all right, the claim that Obama's from Kenya is just the dumbest thing, right? But this is. Like, people latched onto that, and
Donald Trump was a birther.
Exactly. Like they used it for they used it to start their political. That's what I mean when I say they won't take like defeat for anything. It's like they use conspiracy theories to offset, like to character assassinate Obama, and they didn't really succeed. Not, I'm not saying he's the greatest president ever, but still.
It's cool, dude. I'd like to have Barack, Mr. Former President Obama, if you want to come on the pod.
All right, Trump got elected, and people were like, we will take George Bush. Like no one. This dude led us into a war that wasn't even real, and people were like, I will gladly take George. Like, George Bush now seems the most cultured person in the world, as opposed to the president we have now, and that's just, he's just not my cup of tea. It's not, dissing everyone. I understand if you voted for him. I understand that there were real reasons besides,
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. I mean,
this election was more of like, who do you dislike less?
Exactly.
Like, but whatever. I think we should just take it to a lighter note before we end it. And I wanted to congratulate this cow who has recently broke the record for producing the most milk, 35,153 liters of milk in Wisconsin.
Whoa.
How long did that take?
It took 4 years.
4 years?
The cow is named My Gold.
My Gold? Oh, my goodness.
If you want to see the cow, she lives in Wisconsin. So let's go, cow.
Yeah.
A 4-year record in the making. That's so much patience, dude. Jeez.
That's crazy.
On the grind. Don't stop.
Never
Oh my
stop.
God.
Never settle.
This
Never
is a
take
good
no for an
podcast.
answer. All right. Well, Farhan,
I'm
is there any?
very sorry for hogging the mic, by the
No,
way.
no,
that's- dude.
I've never had my limelight, I've never had my an hour in fame. And like now I was like, no, Diego, shut the fuck up. This is my time. I talk. No one else talks.
Just turns off Diego's mic. Turns off both our
So,
mics.
yeah,
and
if you
says,
can't hear Diego, it's because I pulled it out. Like that's all it was.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now. Finally
Have you
changed his
seen that
name.
meme? The Nicoletti one? It's like, I am the captain now.
No, I've
that
not seen
one.
that
Oh, dude, wow.
Is there any social media you want?
Yeah,
to
you got
out?
anything you want to pimp? If you have a website, if you want-
Nicoletti literally is like all my mannerisms are collected from like Nicoletti. So that's
So you
like,
just follow him.
yeah, it's just my social media is a shrine to
It's a
Nicoletti.
retweet. Of
Exactly. I'm just a retweet machine.
Well, if people want to hear more about your ramblings, or if people want to hear more about whatever, can they find you anywhere that you want to share to people?
I actually just made a Twitter for dank-ass memes, that people send to me. Like, actually, this is what it was. And, I'll share my Twitter handle with you guys. I don't even know how to read Twitter, dude. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm like that old guy, who just got on. I think it's Abbasi, A capital Abbasi 997.
I think you need to spell that for people.
ABBASI 997, and the A is capital. I got 16 following. Whoa, dude. Whoa, this ratio is awful. It's 16 following, 7 followers. All right, guys, you need to help me out.
This is where we're gonna really see if people listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
Is how many
it's like-
followers Farhan gets.
Like, if I wake up tomorrow and have 8 followers from 7, I will be so impressed. You have no idea. Where is this broadcast,
Okay,
by the way?
Diego. Or actually, no. Diego's been talking too much.
Okay, no, but so we post on our website on epochhq.com.
Okay.
You can also follow us on YouTube where we have the video stream. Epic Podcast on YouTube. Epic Podcast on Instagram, Twitter.
Damn.
And,
I'm kind of bummed out we didn't get to talk about little music. But, I don't want to make this like
I mean,
too long.
you'll come back on for
All
sure.
right, hell yeah, dude.
You can
Open
check us
invitation.
out on the website.
Anderson Park, dude. Anderson Park.
Well.
Shout out to Anderson Park.
And
Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Check us out on our website at www.epochhq.com. Remember, that's spelled epochhq.com/podcast to check out all the podcasts.
That's why you have no one going there. It's because it's spelled EPOH.
Oh, God.
Like, APOCH.
So today we're going to go out to the song.
also on iTunes. We're on iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Please rate us. Please rate us.
Also,
on
I
all these
I would say that my man Christian James really I know people try to plug rappers, but this dude, and I'm trying to get Mr. Wartsky to listen to his music too. It's pretty good.
Okay.
And I got my friend Michael Spears, has no beat making experience, but like
Cool
he's
guy.
he's musically so talented, dude. He downloaded Logic and whipped out like 6 beats because he.
Well, you guys were
Really?
making
It was
beats
amazing.
on the road, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was the most crazy. Like, I didn't even know he had this talent, and he's like, but he's so like, and you guys need to meet him. Like, he's.
Well, we'll have to have you on and him on,
Yeah,
and then
dude,
just get a 4.
anytime, absolutely.
That'd be dope.
Christian James is what I'm saying. Pretty good.
So we're listening to Beautiful Escape by Tom Misk on our way out today. Thank you, Farhan, for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
Remember to live long and live epic.
Now I'm feeling like you're with me as my heart's pouring out my sleeve.